Hey guys, how's it going? Solomon again with another episode of me interviewing myself, the prelude to my political podcast and YouTube channel, Free Speech with Solomon. So, the third poll that I talked about with my followers was, do you care more about environmental issues or foreign policy issues? And the results on this were pretty overwhelmingly environmental. Even a lot of the people that self-identified as Republicans said they cared a lot more about environmental issues. And that actually, that kind of refreshed me, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on myself in terms of an educational standpoint. So I am about to finish my third year at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and I am majoring in geology. So my entire major focuses on science and the earth and all that kind of stuff. And I've taken a lot of classes that talk about the climate and environment and all that kind of stuff. And to me, it's very alarming how much we've degraded our environment, recently. And, don't get me wrong, I care a lot about foreign policy issues, especially when it comes to issues of, social and racial injustice across the world. But I personally think that environmental issues are more important at this time, only because if we don't have our environment, we don't have anybody. So what I mean by that is that we have been polluting the atmosphere and the ground and the water and everything at an unsustainable rate. So there was an extinction event called the Permo-Triassic extinction in 252 million years ago. It was the end of the Permian period and the beginning of the Triassic period. Now, this period saw Earth get way hotter than it has ever been, and it was on the brink of becoming Venus. So when you reach a certain level of greenhouse gas emissions, it actually makes the atmosphere turn into a runaway greenhouse effect, which is what happened with Venus. And we were close 252 million years ago at the Permo-Triassic extinction event. Now, one of the major reasons for all of this gassing was a volcanic system in modern-day Siberia known as the Siberian Traps. They were a bunch of flood basalts, and basically basalt is a type of magma, a compositional variation of magma that is more mafic, which means it is hotter and it has more iron and manganese and all that kind of stuff. So there was a huge volcanic event that caused this outpouring of volcanic gases that almost turned us into Venus. And us humans are well on our way to making that happen again, but instead of with volcanic gases, it's with coal and fossil fuels and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. As horrendous as this pandemic has been, it's been almost a blessing in disguise because in Los Angeles, you're seeing that, oh my God, you can finally see the whole city for once. There's not a lot of smog. In India, in New Delhi, you can finally see the sky. You used to not be able to see the sky because of how polluted it was. And there are some villages in Pakistan that you can finally see the Himalayas in the distance, that you were never able to see the Himalayas before because of all this pollution. So it's great. It's giving our Mother Earth a respite on in terms of pollution. So what we really need to do is we need to invest in more green and environmentally friendly forms of energy, because this environmental catastrophe that we're going through right now, to me, is far more important than any human despair or human beef that we have now, because without the environment, we don't have a planet. So I have educated myself on it deeply. I've taken a lot of courses that talked about paleoclimatology and how we influence our environment in my major. And, the facts are alarming. The facts are really alarming. But, one interesting thing is that, it may be more depressing, but that we've been doing this to our environment even before the Industrial Revolution. It kind of started during the Agricultural Revolution in ancient Mesopotamia, and rice farming in China. But what we can do is we can mitigate this and we can fix it, and we can, push it back and make the environment more sustainable, more friendly, more green. And I feel like that's probably the biggest issue in the planet right now, in terms of anything, because it literally is our homes that are at stake, our houses, our livelihoods, everything. And with that, I would just say that that's the most important issue that we're facing right now in terms of humanity. And we really need to mitigate global warming, mitigate greenhouse gas emissions, mitigate urban and suburban expansion. There are a lot of things that we need to do, and that's my top priority. And I think that that should be a bipartisan one too. One of the things that the Republicans have been doing that have really been bothering me is that, you know, they've been large proponents of oil, gas, coal, and all these polluters that, you know, destroy our environment. And, you know, I understand that we're not just going to quit oil, quit coal, or anything overnight. It's going to be a process. But what we need to do is we need to fund more research and, you know, fund more environmental friendly ways. We need to work together as a globe. You know, whether you're Iranian or Chinese or Indian or French or American or Brazilian, whatever it is, we need to come together as a world to fix our planet and to make it more green. I don't want this beautiful palm tree to die a horrific death, because if the palm tree dies a horrific death, I die a horrific death. Not literally, but in terms of theory, where if we don't have trees, then we can't breathe and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. So that about does it for my environmental campaigning. You know, we really need to fund things to fix the environment, because without the environment, we have nothing. So subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram at @solojew_ for more content. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.